Alright guys, Mr. S here. I want to go over circuit diagrams. Okay, the things you're going to have to know is you have to know a battery, a resistor, a light bulb, and a switch, and a wire. Okay, so that symbol right there, a long line and then a tall line, that is a battery. That's one battery. Okay, so one battery is one long line and one short line. And that can be turned or written in a different way, but when you see one big line and one shorter line, that equals one battery. Alright, and the voltage of those is going to change depending on your problem. We'll get into that later. Okay, just for example, when I have two lines like that, so I have two sets of batteries right there, I have two batteries. Okay, because I have one line, one big line, one short line, one big line, one short line. It is really important that you write them in that order, and it has to be in that format. Okay. Now a resistor is just a line and a little squiggle in the middle of it, and then another little line. So it's kind of like when you're in the hospital and there's the heart rate monitor machine. Kind of looks like that. So up and down, and that could be horizontal. It can also be vertical, like that. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but that's the general gist of those. Now, a light bulb in a diagram will look something like that. Okay, and then you draw a circle around it, and I'll usually color coordinate those. But what I typically will do is I'll do something like this. Like I'll do a little loop and circle it. So it does kind of look like a light bulb. So when you see those, that's what that means. And then we have a switch. You can have an open switch, which looks like this, and the little dots like that. So that's an open switch. And if we can have an open switch, we can also have a closed one. Now I'm going to say this again. You really need to memorize these. It's really important. A lot of your test has to deal with this, these diagrams and all these symbols. So, all right, and then we have a closed switch, which is two dots like that, and we go on. Okay, that's a closed switch. And then the easiest one to remember is just a wire. So if you just see a line by itself, that means it's a wire, and that's pretty self-explanatory, that one. Okay, now let's do some examples here. Before we do that, I want to go into two different things. There's a series circuit, which means there's only one path for the electrons to follow. So if you can check for it to be a series circuit, put your finger on the start of it, and if you can go around only one direction, that means you are in a series circuit. Okay, a parallel circuit, if you remember from math class, parallel lines, there's two sets of them. Okay, so just a parallel circuit means that there's more than one option for the electrons to travel on. Okay, so again, if I'm going a little too fast here, make sure you go back and rewatch this video or certain parts of it. Okay, let's write this out here. Okay. In this problem, we have two light bulbs connected in a series powered by one battery. Okay. Now, what I always like to do, and you might be a little different, but I like to usually start with the battery or the number of batteries, just because it makes it simple for me. It gives me a starting point. So again, I'm going to write my battery, and now notice here how I'm doing it. I'm kind of flipping it from the diagram that we had, but that's still just one battery. I'm just turning it. Okay. And the reason I write that way is because I like to show that one wire is coming into one end of it, and the other wire is coming in the opposite end. Okay, so I have my battery, and I know it's two bulbs, right? That's one bulb, and it says it's a series, right? So that means it's going to have to be in one path. Okay, so it's still one path. Here's my second light bulb, and we're going to go back. All right, now I have two light bulbs, and it's a series, and I have one battery. And what I always like to do is go back and check, like check mark to see, did I do it all? Yeah, we have two light bulbs, so I'm going to do a little check mark right there. Is it a series? Yes, it is. It goes around in one path, and there's only one battery, so it checks out. All right, this one we have two light bulbs connected in a parallel circuit powered by one battery. Okay, this one's different. This is a parallel circuit, and there's two light bulbs and one battery. So again, what I like to do is always start with my battery, just because I think it gives you a nice starting place where you want to originally start. And then drawing my battery, and again I just twisted it, or I just turned it instead of the original diagram that I had. And then I'm going to draw my wire. Remember, we said this is a parallel circuit. Okay, so there's going to have to be more than one path for the electrons to follow. And I know that there are 2 light bulbs. That's one light bulb. Here's my other one, and I'll go back and circle those. And then it returns to the battery. Okay, and here's how I know it's a parallel circuit. There are 2 options for the electrons to follow. Like if I were to take my finger from the start and go around it, I could do 2 different options, or 2 different paths, so more than one. So again, I'm going to check to make sure that I got everything. I have 2 light bulbs. It is a parallel circuit, and I have 1 battery. So this one checks out, and we are good to go. And before I move on to the next one, I just want to show you this. If I go around here, I can go down, or I can go over and down. So that's what you should be doing with your finger. If you can't tell just by looking at it, it's a nice test to make sure that you got it down. All right, let me try to erase that. All right, I'm going to check off it is a parallel circuit and it has 1 battery. Okay, all right, next one. 3 resistors connect in a series circuit powered by 1 battery. Okay, so I'm highlighting the important stuff. 3 resistors, series circuit, and 1 battery. And again, you don't have to do this, but I always start with my battery. Okay, so the wire is going up. And it says I have 3 resistors in a series circuit, so you got to remember your symbol for the resistor, which is like that squiggly line. Here we go. That's one of them. And it says it's a series circuit, so that means it's going to go around only 1 path. I have 1 resistor. Now I have 2 resistors. And now I have 3. I'm going to try to. Alright, 3 resistors. And it's just going to go right back to the battery. Alright, again, if I'm going to check this, I have 3 resistors, so I'm going to do a little check mark here. Yep, I do. 1, 2, 3. It is a series circuit because I put my finger on the one part of it. It goes around. There's only 1 path for it to work, and there's only 1 battery in there, so everything checks out. Okay, and I only have 1 battery. There you go. All right. Next one, 3 batteries connect in a series with 2 resistors. They're also in series. Okay, so 3 batteries. This is the first one with multiple batteries, and we have 2 resistors. So I'm going to turn the battery again on its side. And remember, 1 long line and a short line, that's 1 battery. So if I want multiple ones, I need to repeat that same pattern. Okay, the way you write this is actually really important, so make sure you're following the same pattern here. It says we have 2 resistors, and they're in series. So that means there's only going to be 1 path when I trace it with my finger if I'm going to test it. So a squiggly line. I'm going around. I'm coming back. My other resistor. So now I have 2 resistors, and it says they're in series still. So that means it's just going to go back to the battery. Okay, should be getting the hang of this by now. If you need to go back and rewatch parts of this, make sure you do that. Let's do a couple more examples, but they're all pretty similar. Okay, I'm just checking to make sure I got everything. All right, 3 batteries connected with 3 light bulbs in a series circuit. Okay, so this one's different. A lot going on here, but if we just follow the same process, we should be good. Okay, so again, I'm going to start with my battery. 3 batteries. 1, 2, 3. Connect with 3 light bulbs, and it's a series circuit, so I know it's going to be 1 path. When I trace my finger, I just got to draw 3 light bulbs on that path. So I have 1, 2. I'm going to go around. That's 3. And I'm just going to make my circles around those little loops. And again, you don't have to be an artist to do this. Just a rough sketch is fine. All right, and then I have 3 batteries, 3 light bulbs, and it is a series circuit. So that one is done. All right, next one. 3 batteries connect in a series to 3 resistors in a parallel circuit. So this one's different. It's a parallel circuit instead this time. So what that means is there's going to be more than one path if I were to trace my finger around the paths. Okay. So 3 batteries again. Always start there. Give yourself a nice starting point. And then you're going to go around. Now it says there's going to be 3 different resistors, right? So I'm going to make 3 different paths. 1, 2, 3. And on each one of those paths, I'm going to draw a resistor. Now keep in mind, your drawings don't have to look exactly like this. As long as you have everything in it and it is correct, that could be a good answer. I just try to keep everything the same in terms of how I'm sketching them. But so I have 1, 2, and 3 resistors. All right. Oh, hang on one second. Let's redraw that one. And then it goes back to the battery. So it is a parallel circuit. I have 3 batteries and I have 3 resistors, because if I were to trace my finger around each path, I could do 3 different types of paths. So that's how you know it's a parallel circuit. And don't get confused. Parallel doesn't necessarily just mean 2. Like in math class, that could usually just talk about 2 lines. Parallel could be multiple lines as long as there's different paths. Okay, 1 light bulb, 1 battery, and an open switch in a series circuit. Okay, so it's a series circuit. I know there's 1 battery, so let's just start there. Okay, and I know there's 1 light bulb, so I'm going to start there. And then there is 1 open switch. So I'm going to draw my switch down on this side. And even though the switch is after the light bulb, it's still, if it is not closed, it's still not going to light the light bulb. So it doesn't matter necessarily where that's placed for this one. Okay, so let's check it. I have 1 light bulb, 1 battery, an open switch, and it is a series circuit, so that is good. I think we have one more example that I want to go over. 1 battery powering 2 resistors in a parallel circuit controlled by a closed switch. Okay, so you got a lot going on here. But I'm going to start with the 1 battery. Draw that first. And it's powering 2 resistors. Okay, so it's 2 resistors and it is a parallel circuit. So I know there's going to have to be 2 paths, and there is a closed switch somewhere in here. So I'm going to draw my 2 resistors, and I'm going to draw my closed switch down here at the bottom after this. All right, there's my one end, here's my next part, and then we're just going to go back to the battery. Connect those real quick. All right, now I check. I have 1 battery, 2 resistors, and a closed switch, and it is a parallel circuit, so I am good. All right, guys, hope this helped. If you need to go back and rewatch this, make sure you do that. All right.